Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of WWE Marquee Matches Reviews. And in this episode, I'm going to be reviewing another match that took place at SummerSlam. And that was at SummerSlam 2016, John Cena versus AJ Styles. What is there to say about the build-up to this match? I also have to mention, too, this was hosted by Charlie Caruso, which nobody cares about, so we're going to move on from that. But damn. The build-up to this match really doesn't need to be said. You hear those names, John Cena, AJ Styles, you're hooked. But I'm going to talk about the build-up anyways because there is build-up to this match. So, this was pretty much one of those dream matches as a wrestling fan everybody kind of wanted to see. John Cena, AJ Styles. They both had never been in the ring together. AJ Styles and John Cena just pretty much, it just never really panned out. AJ Styles and John Cena both were in different wrestling companies, different places, different times. John Cena, they both debuted, ironically enough, in their respective wrestling companies at the same time. Yes, AJ Styles, I know, technically was in WCW, towards the very end, and then obviously was on a few WWE matches. But pretty much AJ Styles really wasn't in WWE that much. And same thing with John Cena. I think by the time John Cena came in, AJ Styles had already been out of the company. But they both were the faces of their opposing wrestling company. John Cena had been tearing it up in WWE for I gotta think, for over a decade. He started in 2002, and since it was 2016, he had been tearing it up for 13 years, I would say. I think 13 years. 13. He had been in the WWE for 13 years. He had been the face since 2005, and John Cena really made a name for himself. He had been a 15-time world champion at the time, nearly about to break the world championship record that the WWE likes to tell you. He had been in some of the biggest matchups, and he was a former 5-time United States champion, former 2-time Royal Rumble winner, former tag team champion, and John Cena was just a household name in WWE. He had been in the biggest matches with the greatest of all time, and John Cena just was the face of WWE. He was the face. He was the go-to guy. But then we have AJ Styles, who, meanwhile, as John Cena was doing all this stuff in WWE, AJ Styles went to a new company in 2002 called Total Nonstop Action, or TNA for short. And when you think of TNA, one of the people you think about is AJ Styles. If I'm not mistaken, and I probably am, I believe he was in the first match of TNA's existence. AJ Styles had done everything in TNA. He was a former world champion, former tag team champion, former X Division champion. He was the first ever X Division champion. And it was awesome. AJ Styles, too, obviously, too, had won the Bound for Glory series. And AJ Styles just was one of those TNA originals. When you hear TNA, one of the guys that you would probably first think of is probably AJ Styles, or at least he's at least the third. He was one of the TNA originals. But that's not the only place AJ Styles made his name. He also made his name in Ring of Honor when it came to be. Won all their championships and made himself a household name there. Then after he left TNA, he went to New Japan Pro Wrestling. And he took over the Bullet Club, and he became a 2-time IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. And AJ Styles just really tore it up in New Japan Pro Wrestling, changed up his wrestling style completely. And you knew it. I think you knew because that one day AJ Styles was going to WWE. You knew it was going to happen someday. And then the 2016 Royal Rumble came down. And one of the surprise entrances in that Royal... Well, actually, I should mention first, then the news broke out that AJ Styles, the Bullet... Doc Gallows, Carl Anderson, and Shinsuke Nakamura all signed with WWE, which was probably Up until, probably Omega, Cody Rhodes, and the Young Bucks probably signed. Is probably like one of the biggest sign-ins that they've had, probably since Finn Balor, maybe. Or maybe like, yeah. But I would still say that like that was a really big signee. Is AJ Styles, Doc Gallows, Kyle Anderson, and Shinsuke Nakamura. They had been making a name for themselves in Japan, and then the Royal Rumble 2016 came down, and I think everybody kind of knew we were going to get an AJ Styles sighting. We were going to see him somehow, some way in the Royal Rumble match, and that's exactly what happened. He came out number 3, and the wrestling world blew up. They loved to see AJ Styles. It's probably one of the most memorable debuts that's happened within the last couple of years. Mainly because there hasn't really been a lot of debuts since then. And then, things for AJ Styles really didn't start off all that well. They saw him as like kind of a top guy, but they didn't utilize him all that well. But he was kind of in the big spots, you know. They were kind of messing him up a little bit. He lost his first match at WrestleMania. He was used as a filler opponent for Roman Reigns for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. He didn't qualify for the Money in the Bank ladder match, but one of the matches, though, regardless of how well Styles was being, but you could say, though, they weren't really messing up on him because they put him in the top spots and kind of saw him viable enough to be in main events and stuff like that. So there were things that were doing well with AJ Styles, but there were things that were messing up with Styles. It was kind of like a seesaw. But then we finally got the match that everybody had wanted to see. And when AJ Styles had come in, I think that's the match everybody had wanted. John Cena, who had been out of action due to an injury, returned on the Memorial Day episode of Monday Night Raw. Now, normally the Memorial Day episodes of Monday Night Raw in the history aren't very good. But one Memorial Day moment I'll always remember from Monday Night Raw was when John Cena returned and AJ Styles and John Cena finally had their face-to-face confrontation. It was surreal, and everybody loved it. Everybody ate that up, as they should have. And you think it's going to be like face versus face, but then AJ Styles aligns himself back with Kyle Anderson, back with Luke Gallows, and the club finally forms in some variation in WWE. Now, obviously, they just had to call it the club because of copyrights and stuff like that, so they couldn't use the Bullet Club because that was still a thing in New Japan Pro Wrestling. And we finally got the match at Money in the Bank, the match that everybody had wanted to see. And due to interference from Gallows and the match was everything that it should have been. The match was what everybody thought it was going to be, and it was tremendous. But then Gallows and Anderson interfered. It kind of ruined the finish. Styles won, and he kind of won in a heel cheap-like way, even though they had signed a contract where they weren't supposed to interfere. It was really stupid. So, yes. Now, obviously, too, the biggest caveat we got to mention is this was around the time where a feud with John Cena really wasn't as good as you thought it was. Yes, you get featured a lot, but obviously, we know what happens when John Cena feuds with a new top guy, with a new top heel. It means buried for life. Usually, he'll lose the first match, then he'll win the second match, and then he'll win the third match. That Battleground in a 6-man tag team match, John Cena pinned AJ Styles in the middle of the ring, which was kind of out of the norm, but Cena still pinned AJ Styles. So it wasn't like he was doomed yet. But then the rematch was made at SummerSlam. And obviously the build up to it, after the draft, they were both drafted to SmackDown. Gallows and Anderson were drafted to Raw. So AJ Styles, we knew, had to do this match himself. And John Cena and AJ Styles, obviously, too, were cutting promos on each other. AJ Styles was questioning whether John Cena cared about really WWE, because this was around the time when John Cena was really kind of started to get his foot into Hollywood. He had hosted the ESPYs. I don't think he had done it yet, but he was doing all this types. He had his own TV show, American Grit. So John Cena this was kind of like the slow process of when Cena started to go into Hollywood. He's still kind of getting in there, but this is when he started to focus on his acting career. And John Cena then, got mad that he questioned his passion for wrestling, um, and talked about how he's been here since day one and kind of the typical stuff that John Cena says. So then we had the match. And the match was a fear factor because either this was going to make or break AJ Styles. If AJ Styles had lost, he was never going to recover. But if he had won, oh, how tremendous would that have been? And I think everybody was legitimately scared that AJ Styles was going to lose this match, guaranteed. Just because of the fact that he didn't have the club, it was going to be one-on-one, and we know what that means when it comes down to John Cena. And this was just a make or break situation. Let's get to the match. We had JBL, Mauro Ranallo, and David Otunga commentary for this match. And this match is fantastic. It's a fantastic wrestling match. If you think about the 2016 SummerSlam weekend, the second best match on there is John Cena versus AJ Styles, without a question. If you want to say it's the best match, I wouldn't even disagree with you. It's not quite. It's very close though. It's a toss up. It's either this match or the NXT Tag Team Title match or NXT Takeover Brooklyn 2 between the Revival and hashtag DIY. You could make an argument for any of those matches. I prefer that match just because of the storyline and how everything played out. But this match is is just below it. What a tremendous match this is. AJ Styles, John Cena was tremendous. I'll go over the match spot by spot because I can't even really go over it in order. You had AJ Styles snap suplex and Cena on the apron. I especially love the spot where Styles got the best of Cena with like a drop kick and he went up on the turnbuckles and was very cocky about it. When he gets down, Cena pops him with a right hand. Cena hits a backdrop on Styles, which drives him right down to the ground. Cena hits his 5 moves of doom. Goes for an AA. Styles counters into the Styles Clash. Cena kicks out of that. Cena hits a huge cutter on Styles. Styles kicks out. He hits a code red. Styles kicks out. He hits a tornado DDT. Styles kicks out. Styles hits a torture rack into a sit up into a power bomb. Cena kicks out. Styles hits the Hushi Karoshi. Cena kicks out. They both exchange submissions on each other. Cena gets the STF in. Styles turns it into the crossface. Cena turns it back into the STF. Styles turns it into the calf crusher. Tremendous stuff. Cena hits the guillotine leg drop from the top turnbuckle. Styles kicks out. Cena hits a tornado DDT. I might have already said that, but I'm just so psyched about this match. It's just tremendous. Cena hits the Avalanche AA and Styles kicks out, and nobody really ever kicks out of the Avalanche AA. I think Cena and Styles exchange their finishers on each other. Styles went for the 450 splash. Cena moved. It's a tremendous wrestling match, and you really just gotta watch it. I probably missed a lot of spots in this match, but I can't do this match justice. Just go watch this match. It's tremendous. It's fantastic. But then the finish happens. And the finish is glorious. Because of the finish, I praise this match. Because this is an example where a finish can really make a match. AJ Styles, after Cena had hit the Avalanche AA, hits the Styles Clash on Cena, and he doesn't go for the cover because he's smart. He knows that Cena's probably going to kick out. Then he hits the phenomenal forearm on Cena, which I think was the only one in this match, so that really put over that move. And he pins him and beats John Cena clean. No outside interference. No Cena getting injured. No bullshit. No nothing. Or no anything. I don't know. AJ Styles beats John Cena clean, fair and square in the middle of the ring. It was surreal. It's still surreal to watch it now to this day because it was just kind of like the changing of the guard. And AJ Styles wins the match, goes backstage, and then Cena leaves his armband in the ring and goes backstage because he was taking time off from this. This match is tremendous. I easily give this match 4 3/4 stars. Not quite a 5-star match because I'm always in that my norm that if you have to ask yourself if a match is 5 stars, it's not. It's not quite 5 stars. Very close, but not quite. And man, this match, right after this heel one with AJ Styles, and right after this match, AJ Styles has been a top player for WWE. He's really been the main event guy in WWE. Now, obviously, he hasn't been the guy, and he hasn't been like the top, one of the top guys. I shouldn't say this. He hasn't been like the guy, but he's been one of the top guys in WWE. And it just kind of goes to show you. I think this AJ Styles came in at a perfect time for WWE. He came in when everybody was hurt. So they really didn't have a choice but to make somebody new. And also, he came in when the brand split was being established. And SmackDown needed top guys because they didn't have a lot. It had, what? Cena, Dean Ambrose, Bray Wyatt, and I think Randy Orton, and then that's really it. They needed to make some stars, and AJ Styles was the perfect person. AJ Styles came in when the roster wasn't really very loaded. And that's a lot of people really want to see Kenny Omega, Cody Rhodes, and the Young Bucks come in. And while it would be great, and while it would be awesome, the roster's too loaded right now for them to come in. It would really hurt the roster. It could hurt it in two ways. It could hurt themselves because they might not get booked very well because there might not be enough spots for them on the roster. Or it could hurt the other guys on the roster because they could be taking up a spot for like Samoa Joe, Shinsuke Nakamura, The Ball, something like that. Because remember, The Ball wasn't on TV for a few weeks until recently. So it could really hurt themselves or the roster. And I'm kind of worried about that. Obviously, that's not the only reason I'm worried about it, but that's one of the things I'm worried about it. AJ Styles has proven that he came in at a perfect time when everybody was hurt and WWE needed to establish some stars. And AJ Styles came in at the time. In life, it's about timing. And yes, you could say wrestling's not really life, but that was exactly what happened with AJ Styles. And now he's a top guy pretty much. I'll go over his aftermath. Shortly afterwards, he beat Dean Ambrose at Backlash for the WWE Championship. And then obviously they did the rematch with him and Cena came back. They did the triple threat with them at No Mercy, and Styles won that. Then they did the big rematch with Cena and Styles at the Royal Rumble, where Cena popped up victorious, which I think that should have been saved to WrestleMania, but that's just me. And then AJ Styles was still kind of like a top guy, but they were kind of floundering with him. He kind of got moved to the mid card for a bit, where he was kind of still like a main event guy, but you really kind of thought he could have been a little bit more. Then he won the WWE Championship in November, and he's held it ever since. He's probably on the verge of being one of the longest reigning champions ever. Probably the longest reigning WWE champion of the modern era. And even though he hasn't, I get pissed that he hasn't main evented the pay-per-views and stuff. He's still in a really good spot right now. He's on the cover of the new video game coming up, and I think that's awesome. And you can see that this is kind of when, too, John Cena really started to put guys over cleanly because after this, John Cena really has been more frequently losing cleanly. He lost to Dean Ambrose on SmackDown clean shortly afterwards. He got squashed by The Undertaker at WrestleMania this year. He lost in that gauntlet match to Seth Rollins clean after Seth Rollins, too, had already had a match prior to that. What else? He's been losing a lot of matches clean lately, and I like that. He lost to Roman Reigns at No Mercy clean, so it really kind of changed that John Cena is now putting guys over. Now, obviously, it's kind of a little bit too little too late. He should have been doing this a few years ago, but better late than never, I guess. But it really kind of changed that. I think, too, this is kind of when Cena's position was really starting to change in the WWE. John Cena, you could kind of see Willie. He was still kind of like the face of WWE, but you could kind of see slowly by within these last couple of years that John Cena slowly went away from being the face of the WWE. So it just kind of shows within what happens. 2 years prior to this, it was all about John Cena. Even a year prior to this, it was all about John Cena. And now John Cena really doesn't he hasn't been much of a factor really at much. He's still, even when he's there, he's not in like the top spot on the roster anymore. So definitely kind of weird. I'm happy about that, but it's also strange at the same time. Um, and as for the commentators, Mauro Ranallo too made this match really work. I feel bad that Mauro Ranallo had to work with David Otunga and JBL. It sucks, but whatever. But JBL, I was a part-time commentator now, and part-time panel analyst. David Otunga's a panel analyst because he sucked on commentary. And Mauro Ranallo now the play-by-play guy in NXT, which I think NXT is the best spot for Mauro Ranallo right now, considering the fact that I think that's a better spot for him because he doesn't have to deal with the bullshit with Vince McMahon and stuff like that. But that's besides the point. And Charlie Caruso just is Charlie Caruso, so there you go. And that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you guys for watching this video. Hope you guys enjoy it. Please make sure you guys like, comment, and share this video so people will watch it. And make sure you guys subscribe to this channel for more content and click on the bell so that way every time I upload a video, you guys will get the notifications for it. Make sure you guys do the same thing for my CM brothers and on the Talking 80 YouTube channels. And that's pretty much it, guys. Talk to you later.